Good evening. Sorry for the delay. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, as amended on March 28, 2025, this meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if there are tech problems unless required by law. Viewers can visit the local scene.media/Sudbury, Duxbury, formerly pac-tv, to watch a video replay of this meeting on Duxbury YouTube. Okay, so we are now going to have two of our favorite departments tonight to go through their budgets, Council on Aging and the Library. And Joanne, you are.
Do I need to stand certain place
You
for the
can
owl?
do whatever you want to do.
Sure. So the cover sheet that I
There's
provided.
Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike. So the cover sheet I provided everyone just is a real brief summary of what the budget looks like and the difference and where our expenses line up. But let's go to slide 1. So I don't know if you were watching the selectmen's meeting last night, but we're in the process of changing our logo. So next year when you see us, we'll have an updated logo that was part of our long range plan. Next slide.
Are you changing the name?
No, so we are gonna be the center, powered by the Council on Aging, because what had happened in the past was everyone said that, well, what's the Council on Aging? No one knew that was our department name, so we wanted to make sure we kept it. And we added Age Strong and Live Well, because we want people still to know it's for older adults in the community. So we're really excited about it. So this is our mission, vision, and values. And really our job is to help older adults age well, engage in the community, and enrich their lives in whatever type of programs and services that we offer. And really, we want to make people's lives better as they age. And we're really committed to make sure people feel like they belong. We want to treat everyone with kindness and compassion. We believe in lifelong learning and curiosity. Right before you got here, our lifelong learning class with Patrick Brown left, and he has a full house with 50 people in learning a little bit about history. And we want people to lead independent lives, and the services we provide help them to do that. Next slide. So if you don't know what we do, this is kind of an overview. Nutrition, that's really one of our biggest programs, and really, I think one of our most important programs, because it keeps people alive, healthy, and well. Last year, we served 26,239 meals. 51% went out to our homebound clients, and the other 49% were on site. So we delivered 13,269 meals to our community. During the course of the year, probably 125 different people are getting those meals, but it's not just a meal, it's a safety check too. So it may prevent a fire visit, because we're checking on people every day. And if our volunteers go out and find that someone's not, they're always dressed and they're not dressed, we make a call to their family just to say, you know, Mary wasn't dressed today, and Mary's always dressed, or she just didn't seem like herself, so you might want to check on her.
Also tie it in with the heat. When we've had issues before.
Yeah, but
where you were concerned that people were not warm.
yeah, so that goes to community services and outreach. So we have our community service manager. Her job really is to connect people up to services like SNAP, like Shine, like heat fuel assistance. So if we see something, we connect them up with services either through South Shore Community Action Council or Old Colony Elder Services. And we help people fill out the applications if that's a little too challenging, or we meet them wherever they are. So we might bring the computer to them, or they may come to us. Our social day program, if you're ever having a bad day, come to see us at 3 o'clock. So Karen Harrison leads our social day program, and that's for people living with Alzheimer's disease. They're here with us Monday through Thursday from 9 to 3, and every half hour the activity changes so people engage in a full day of activity and give their loved one at home a break. So if you're a caregiver, that break is so important. So we have one group that comes Monday and Wednesday, and another group that comes Tuesday and Thursday. And in the last year, we partnered with the Alzheimer's Family Support Center of Cape Cod. And now we have a group that comes on Friday, and they have a grant through NIH. So it's free of charge for people, and they bring in their staff. the volunteers, and we just provide their safe. So it provides an extra 15 people who are a little further along in the disease, and they are respite for their family caregivers. That program's 9 to 1 because the length of the day sometimes gets too long for people. Transportation, we provided almost 7,000 rides this past year, and that really is to keep people independent. A lot of those rides are for medical transportation, and thanks to our friends organization, a senior in Duxbury doesn't pay for those rides. So if you were just getting a ride locally, it'd be $1.50 each way. That's a lot of money if you're on a limited income. And if you go to Plymouth, it's $7. So if you go to chemo 5 days a week, that's a lot of money that's out of your pocket. So our friends cover that cost so that people can stay independent. And our programming, this is really what we're known about, not just in Duxbury, but really in the state and nationally, is our educational programs and our lifelong learning programs. So many senior centers have tried to do the college thing, but because of our amazing subcommittee that goes out to the community and finds teachers, we have college-like courses every semester. And I think we're over 600 courses since we started the program. And then our volunteer program, we have over 300 volunteers. Hello, who gave over 13,000 hours, and they provided about $500,000 of service to the town. So every aspect of our service, you'll see a volunteer. And when we say we couldn't do it without our volunteers, we really couldn't. Next slide. So these are some of our outcomes. Like I said, our meals, we served over 26,000 meals, and that was a 21% increase over the year before. And the year before, we had a 20% increase, and the year before that, an 18% increase. During COVID and before COVID, we were pretty level around 14,000 meals, but after COVID, things went bonkers and continue to go bonkers. And that's why you'll see the big increase in our food.
So is there anybody that can't get, are you at a limit now, or is there people?
So that's,
If more people need to get into the program, can they?
so that's a great question. So our budget was underfunded in 26 by about $25,000. And our big fear was to say, sorry, you're coming home from the hospital, you need to wait. Or, you can't cook at home because it's not safe. Sorry, we can't give you food. So our budget is what it was because of the not getting the override. We've written a grant to the Grafton Foundation. They gave us $13,000, which will help ease the burden. And our friends gave us another $10,000. So for this year, we're fine. But when you look at our budget, which is really, I think it's about 50% of our expense budget is the food line item. It's because this program is growing in leaps and bounds. Transportation, like I said, almost 7,000 rides, and really it's to keep people independent and engaged. And a lot of people come here, or medical appointments are really a big part of that. And we're working with GATRA right now to work on long distance transportation. So many people go to the South Shore hospitals, but there isn't transportation that way. It goes to Jordan and Plymouth area. And then we're working with them to do the Boston bus, which will get you into Boston if you need transportation as well.
So we don't go to the cancer center in South Shore?
Not now. So they just got a grant. So 2 days a week, they'll go to Weymouth, and 2 days they'll go to Boston.
Oh,
So we're
okay.
waiting for them to kind of start that service, and where they'll stop is exit 5. We'll pick up people and drop them off at Big Y. They'll stop at, in Pembroke at like where Stop and Shop is there. And then they'll stop in Rockland and then go into Boston and kind of make those stops on the way back home. And then our bus will meet them in Duxbury down at Big Y and then bring them home. So, but that's hopefully coming soon. Our community service, like I said, she's doing the applications, keeping people safe. She's talking to people on the phone, and we'll have a big uptick in those calls after Thanksgiving and Christmas when they say, oh my God, I haven't seen mom for a while. Oh boy, she needs some help. And that's really, that's a big part of her job, is connecting people with services. Like I said, lifelong learning, it's one of our flagship programs. And we did 26 courses last year. Many of our instructors get a fee, but then an equal amount are volunteers. And so, you think they get $50 an hour to teach this class, but the amount of time and effort they put into creating this class is so much more than that. So they really do give a lot of time. And then our programs, we offered over 4,000 programs. We had 2,209 90 unique people, but they were here for over 37,000 visits in the building, coming through the building. And I would say about 20% of the people don't check in because they just sweep on by and go to their exercise class, but that's who we have that they signed in. Our social day program ran 225 days. And like I said, our volunteers, 329 volunteers gave 14,100 hours of service and saved the town almost $600,000 of service. So when you look at that and our budget should be much bigger, but because of that volunteer gifted time, it really saves the town a lot of money. Next slide. So this is our staffing pattern, and I'll send you, and I didn't bring it upstairs, but I have a list of who's funded by how they're funded, because I'm a counting nightmare because our staff is funded in so many different ways. We have 10 people that are funded by the town, and everyone else, we have 25 staff are funded by other sources. Next slide.
That would be good if you,
I'll forward that to you.
yeah, tie that together.
Yeah. So our budget for 27 to 5A, we had a 1.7% increase, and the total amount of our increase was $14,678.72. So a really small increase, like everybody else. We're being really cautious because we want our budgets to pass, but really our big increase came in the area of food. You'll see that. Next slide. And we have no capital.
How are you doing on utilities and everything else, or it's too early to tell?
So utility, so far it's looking okay, but Mary did give us the specific numbers to put in our budget. And so that kind of took the guesswork out of it, and that was done across the board. So we put in the number.
I mean, for this year.
So far it's good, but the cold weather's coming.
Yeah.
And we definitely have some challenges with our heating system. They're still working on trying to get a new system in here.
Yeah.
That was approved.
Katie's working on it.
Yeah, I know. It's just what we could have got a couple of years ago is so much more expensive now. So I know she's working diligently to try to come up with a good solution. So this is our overall request. And like I said, it's a $14,678 dollar increase. And we've kept out training, we kept out meetings. Our food budget isn't fully funded. You'll see that on the front side. We did add money to our budget for our food line because we think that's really important. And it's also important to note in our 25 budget, we're giving $80,000 for food and food service supplies, and we returned $112,585 to the general fund. So I look at that line item as kind of a line of credit. You give me money, I give you back money and interest. So we're a good risk, I would say, because this program is growing. All right, next slide. So these are staff that are covered by our town. And as that cover sheet said, so the salaries were approved in the 26 budget. So this is exactly what was improved in the 26 budget. So no changes. We don't have new staff. It's been the same staffing pattern. Next slide. So just to give you that slice of the pie of how we're funded, of course, the town covers 57% of our staffing, but these are the other ways that our staff are funded. GATRA, that covers, that is for our Regional Transportation Authority. That's our second source of funding with 15%. Our friends give us over $100,000 in staffing every year. So when I say come to our fundraisers because it really keeps us in business. Social Day is a revolving account, so that covers the staffing and supplies. We do get a grant from the Curtis Foundation that provides activities, fitness, and some field trips, but that program is in the positive. Our formula grant, that's state funding, and we use that $70,000 for staffing. And then OCS, that is a Title III funding that we use to underwrite some of our kitchen staff. Just to let you know, because of what's going on in the federal government, that Title III reporting has become much more challenging, and that's part of our 5B ask, just to let you know.
Have you been impacted at all by the shutdown?
Not yet. Not yet. What the SNAP benefits, that is, so last week we did a farmer's market. We pick up food from South Shore Community Action Council. On Friday, they get a pickup from Whole Foods. And so 2 weeks ago, we said, all right, we'll do a farmer's market in the afternoon because they're trying to find places to take the food because a lot of senior centers close at noon. we had 50 people come through. Last Friday, we had 86. So you can see, I think people were really scrambling and nervous, and I went to the Interfaith Council meeting on Saturday, and they said the food pantry was empty by Friday afternoon, but tons of people came in and it's full again. But the community's been really helpful, but I think people are really on high alert about the foods, the snack benefits. So I guess that the interesting fact is if you add, like I said, that volunteer service, our budget would be 1.75710. So, you know, that gift of time really does make a difference for us. And the volunteers love being at the senior center, at the library, in other departments in town, because they're using their talents and feeling purposeful and having something to do and connecting with friends, which is really, if you want to age well, that's part of it. So next slide. So these are the people that are funded by other sources, just to give you, and as you can see, that's a lot of people that, you know, are funded, and that's $500,000 in funding by other sources. Next slide. So this is the 5B budget, and our increase is $58,000. And it may not be a lot of money, but it means a lot to us in the way we can continue to do our service. So we did see an increase. Can we go to the next slide, please? So this is how we, what we added in our 5B budget. So, you know, 5A, we were bare bones like everybody else. You're just trying to stay afloat. 5B, we're trying to expand our home delivered manager position from 19 to 32 hours, and that's a $29,000 ask. So that will enable us, as those home delivered meals continue to grow, we're able to say yes. And yeah,
So, 19 to 32, that's benefit eligible?
it would be benefit eligible.
And and again, I kind of got this mixed up in my head, but didn't the Friends, and maybe I'm thinking of another position, Joe, and we started talking about this before the meeting, is this a different individual? I know last year there was.
Yeah, so last year we were trying to change some things up in the kitchen.
Right.
We did 2 part-time positions. The first time we hired someone, it didn't work out.
Right.
And it took a little while. We found a volunteer who ended up taking the other half of the position. So we've been able to do that one with 2 positions, and it's working well. So I didn't want to rock the boat, but this person is drowning without the boat. And we really need to look at it really because of the guidelines that are coming from the federal government, the state, and then the program is really growing. I
think it's worth mentioning the numbers it's the same number.
Oh, so this is, I think, an important fact for people to know. So we started this program back in 2003, and we were probably the first senior center in the Commonwealth to say, hey, we're going to cook our food ourselves. We want a really high quality product. So the first year we did the program, we served 2,810 meals that were delivered in the community, and our staff person worked 19 hours a week. This past year, she served 13,269 meals. That's a 248% increase in the amount of meals that we serve with the same staffing pattern. So when I say she's drowning, she's drowning. So we have volunteers who assist with the packing, the delivery, but she's really in charge of the organizing, making sure that, you know, if Mary's gluten-free, she's not getting a gluten meal, that she's, you know, just whatever. We're really careful about all that. So it all falls on this 19-hour position. So that's why we're looking to increase it. We are going to ask for another $15,000 in our food service line item that will make us whole. So we're able to keep serving the food that we love to do. We did put $10,000 in for Care Solace, and that is the mental health navigation system. This year, the Friends have covered the cost of the $10,000. I have it in my budget, and we are seeking grants, but I have it in my budget because I think it's really important. If you're seeking mental health support, this is a call away versus making 20 calls to find a provider. And if you're in a crisis, trying to make 20 calls, you just don't make those calls.
What program do Joanne? Is it an opportunity for, this program connects folks with a provider, a mental health provider?
Yes.
Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
so there's no going through a PCP, there's not going through all of the.
Yeah.
The health insurance, the regular health
You
insurance.
just call them, they take your basic information, ask you questions, everything's confidential. They give you a list of providers, they follow up with you to make sure you know,
Connected.
had the appointment, that it went well. If it didn't go well, they give you another provider or help you make the phone call for the provider. So we're about 10 days in and 15 people have already called. So I think that's pretty impressive. When I was,
So is the initial contact through staff here, or is it through the Care Solace group?
yeah, so what we're doing it through our livable Duxbury work, there's health and community services, and we broke that into two parts. One was mental health, because that came up number one in the issues in the town when we did our survey. And then we have like health and community services, that's like wellness and that side. So in our phase 2 report that we submitted yesterday, that had the health part. Phase 1 was all about mental health. So Peter Holden is our lead in that, and he used to be the president of BID. And he understood how challenging the whole mental health landscape is, because there is no system of care. So I would equate it to, if I had cancer, I'm given a nurse navigator, because once you get that word, you don't hear anything else. And your nurse navigator holds your hand and makes sure you get whatever you need. So this Care Solace, and we're hoping through grants to do a mental health navigator, will do that same thing. And we're hoping to do a 3-year pilot and then go back to different organizations, hospitals, and say, this works. This is a mental health navigation system. There isn't one in the Commonwealth, and it works, and we've proven it, and we want you to duplicate it. That's our goal, our ultimate goal.
So who is Care Solace? Is it a company?
It's a company out of California. They've been in business about 10 years. Just to let you know, the school has had a contract with them for the last 3 years. After COVID, there was a huge increase in need for the students. And we actually heard about it from the school, and that's how we got involved. And then Peter, we got a ton of references, and he talked to all the references to find out what their experience was. And it was really a positive experience. And that's why we went to our friends organization and said, this is a little outside our scope, because it really covers not just seniors, it covers every resident in town that's not a student. So if your husband, wife, child, that's not a school age person, or even if your child doesn't live in Duxbury, but is part of your family, they're covered. So it's really, it covers employees as well. So it really
This is the program that you're signing up with, so it's not just limited to. the
Seniors, no,
It's not just seniors.
It's all residents.
So it's done under this, our livable Duxbury work. It's not, it's being worked on by staff at the senior centers and our board, and then they are working on different community members. We have about 100 people working on this initiative, and it's really a community initiative. It really doesn't have to do anything with seniors specifically. It's
Yeah.
about making
Who's managing that overall?
Kevin Mullins.
And
He's
What are you talking about?
the task force work of livable Duxbury.
No,
Kevin.
so the actual coordination of the support care solace through the community, is there?
So right now, we're actually using our staff, and we've written grants to get it up to hire a part-time navigator, but we haven't heard on the grants yet.
So are you also helping others in the community other than seniors?
Yes, well, we haven't had any yet, but in this.
It's available
Yes.
to the whole
Yes,
community.
and the school has guidance counselor and counselors that are helping students and their families, but we're hoping to bridge the gap. And we have 2 master's level social workers working with us right now.
The reason I'm asking the question, Joanne, is that knowing from the health insurance side of the world, right? How difficult it is to find a mental health provider that first of all takes health insurance.
Right.
In the Commonwealth, right? And it becomes an enormous challenge, right? To put, and it's just that it's the time and the effort, and you have to have a pretty robust Rolodex,
Yes,
right?
and they do.
And the wait times are. And so my question is really around knowing how much mental health services are needed.
Yeah.
And it's continuing to increase in our communities. This could be potentially, grow into a more expensive program, right? And I don't know the structure of how it all works, but I'd be interested in to knowing, if you take, if you're servicing 500 people, it's X amount.
So
Is there
it's
a tier?
actually, it's $1 per adult. And so right now the Friends pay $10,000. That's the contract for the year. Next year, the contract
That's
will be.
interesting.
And I can have you talk to Peter, because he's like, he could give you all the facts and figures of, how many.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk to Peter
Okay.
more about that, just to understand
Yeah,
the kind of mechanics of it, because I'm not familiar with this particular program.
and he, that's someone who has his background. He said, sounds too good to be true,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
That's
And,
kind of where I'm going.
especially when they gave the number, because he was expecting the number to be much larger than it was. And he was like, we gotta make this happen. And not that $10,000 isn't a lot of money, but to cover the rest of the town, it seemed like a great
Well,
service to provide.
again, health insurance, just
Yeah.
from a funding of health insurance, mental health services via a health insurance company.
Yeah.
Is enormously challenging.
Well, why don't we get
Yeah, well-
get you connected to Peter?
I'll connect you to.
Okay.
So.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so then we have the mental health navigator for $10,000. We took out all of our training and our travel and our budget, even the 5A, just because we wanted to put as much as we could towards food. So that's $4,000. So our increase is $58,209 for the 5B budget. Next slide.
So do you have any professional development for your staff?
Yeah, this year, no, anything we do, we ask the Friends for money this year because we took it out.
What about all the organizations that have put statues in the park to you?
Yes.
We're not members of any of them anymore?
We are MCOA and NISC, we're just doing the bare minimum. Just keeping our memberships open. Some of the meetings are online, but yeah, so we're trying to do as little as possible. I need to say that.
Well, even in B?
B, we restore it.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm gonna go back to home delivered meals. Like I said, this is kind of where we're putting our money, and we hope that others will understand the importance about it. Home delivered meals is about 50% of all the meals we serve. We continue to see this huge growth in this program. And we can continue to see that growth because the senior population is gonna continue to grow till 2035, and then it's gonna level off. It's never gonna go down, it's gonna level off. So that number is gonna continue to grow, which is a good thing for our business, I would say. The number of homebound elders is rising. People want to stay at home, and this is a great service that we provide to help them stay at home. And we provide wraparound services. Just before we were here, we were talking, we had a panelist of services, like you think you're ready for the unexpected, but you're really never ready, and things you need to think about. So we had that program downstairs. And like I said earlier, so our staffing pattern hasn't changed since 2003, but the amount of meals we're providing is 4 times the original number. So we have greater coordination, not only of the meals, but the volunteers, the drivers. We started out with 3 routes, we're up to 5 routes. The logistics of, oh, Mary's in the hospital, take Mary off the list, or we have a new client, add them to the list. And we want to make sure that quality is done, the safety checks, and we need to be in compliance with all the documentation. So we do get that Title III money. Next slide. So I think this is a great slide. This is how our meals, so back in 2017, and then you go into COVID and you can see it's really more home delivered meals than meals on site. And then, like I said, once COVID was over, the last couple of years, our numbers have just gone bonkers. And so on an average, it's about 50, in the 50 range, but of course, during those COVID years, home delivered meals went to 73, then 68, because really, we kept delivering throughout the whole time in COVID. We had procedures, so people weren't going out, so we were doing the shopping for them and bringing them food. Next slide. So, our need for nutrition investment continues. Our food line item is 54% of our expense budget. But like I said, you know, the line item that you give us, we will return that to the general fund, and I'm sure there will be an excess, like we've shown in the past. Like I said, in 25, our line item was 80,000, and we returned 112,585 in revenue to the general fund. Does that cost cover everything? No, it doesn't cover the lights, the electricity. Staffing is covered by the town, but it does cover all the food and food supplies, the containers, everything that is used. Next slide. And so, does anyone have?
It is the full-time, the employee that you want to bring full-time, will that just be for the meals, or are there other duties that will be absorbed in that position?
So she'll be able to do more of the billing. That will be, some of the load will be taken off another staff member.
So it'll just be other people that are doing the job and they have to do just their job?
So that person is already in-house now?
Yes. So she has a master's in public health.
Mhm.
She's been with us for about 8 months. The person we had previously had been with us for 10 years and retired. After her son got married and wanted to do a little traveling. And she's been a great addition.
I'm more curious if you can get someone to do that work
Yeah,
for that money.
Yeah.
And if they're already in-house, that's great.
Yeah. and we want to keep her. So she's 23 and we're hoping she'll grow with us.
Great. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, John. And just take the go get your lunch card, yes. All right, thank you for
You're welcome.
thank you. Although it's always interesting to hear how the departments are, have a good one,
Bye, Joanne.
Bye, take care.
especially Mother Teresa. It's the volunteerism, and I don't think that, you know, Joanne would never say this, but I think part of it, you know, like you. If the department head is personable and pleasant and interacting well with the community, then more people will come. So you're both doing a wonderful job on that.
It's a lovely place to be.
And we notice.
Yes, we do.
I just said.
I'm actually, nice to meet you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I don't know what the deal is. No, I totally get it.
Thank you.
You know, it might be great, I mean, we all know you, I think, you know, Mark and Ashley, you know the crowd, but if, why don't you introduce yourselves, because it's being recorded and people know who's here.
Lucy Wilbrenner and library trustee, and this is my father-in-law, Chuck.
We made that connection.
That's why I got
Nice,
Double.
a family of volunteers, that's lovely, yes.
Denise Garvin, I'm the library director.
Lester Lloyd, I'm the chair of the trustees.
And Martha Dennison, I'm the vice chair of the trustees.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the Finance Committee. Thank you for this opportunity to talk with you about the library's budget. This evening, if you can go to the next slide. We start by showing the enormous value our library provides to town residents. For every dollar of town tax investment, we provide over $6 in materials and services. That is, and I believe this was fiscal year 25, there was a municipal appropriation of $1,500,000, and we provided $9,800,000 in material and labor costs. The larger portion of that return to the town is for the cost that a resident would pay for books, audio, video, and ebooks if they bought them themselves. And the breakdown is in the digital budget as well. which I believe you have.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
this return reflects the fact that all of our programs, events, and services are completely free. Next slide.
I have been gently reminded over the years that Duxbury free library. I know you
Well,
guys
you know,
get-
they
Yeah,
have
but
every,
you got on that word. It's good, good to remind us.
You know, in the old days, libraries weren't all free, but that's where it was.
Yeah, there you go.
So this value that the library provides is driven by our strategic planning. We are offering the materials, resources, and programs that the community asked for. And we have capitalized on this successful planning model by changing the time frame of our long-range planning. Narrowing the scope from a 5-year plan to a 3-year plan ensures that our mission, vision, and values remain relevant to the Duxbury community. The conversation with residents thus becomes more fluid and responsive. We are able to focus on a select range of themes or issues, enhancing productivity and achieving deliverable goals for the community. And we can also better connect with library and community stakeholders, focusing on the defined needs of target resident demographics, students, families, professionals, seniors, and others. Next slide.
That's me. So do you all have access to the ClearGov yet, the budget book? Okay, so we have linked our strategic plan and our strategic plan, where we're at, the status of that. And you can see, because we've changed the way we approach the plan, we're identifying the current needs of the community, and we're reaching our objectives, while they're still relevant. In the past, when we would do a 5-year plan, things change really rapidly. And, you know, in 2000, what we thought 2025 was gonna look like, it didn't happen. So rolling this over much faster, make sure that we're addressing real needs, and we're staying relevant in the community.
Denise, maybe it would be helpful to just give us a short description of how you develop your strategic plan. Because I know a lot of work goes into it.
It does. We do focus groups with the community, and we do a survey, community survey, which is really helpful because, you know, a lot of times when you do a focus group, you get people that already use the library. And while that input is very valuable, the survey, we feel like it goes out to people that might not already be using the library. So that's really important information to us as well. We do focus groups internally with the library staff. And am I missing anything then in terms of gathering information? And then we have staff like brainstorming sessions where we identify what the major topics are that keep bubbling up. And usually it's the types of programs that we offer. When the programs are offered, people want them in the evenings, they want them in the weekends so that they can get there. And staff comes up with an action plan, and then we create a document that we actually look at all the time. And pretty much everything we work toward in the library and everything we plan falls into one of our main objectives on the strategic plan. So we're using it as an actual working plan. Like, we don't just write and forget about it. It is what guides us. And then because we're not locked into a 5-year time frame anymore, once we're done with it, we're ready to start another one. It might be 3 years, it might be 2 years.
So it makes it much more of a living document.
It's very
You're
living.
rolling.
Yeah.
You're rolling through it as opposed to.
Yeah.
And I think that's been successful. I think that, you know, you're as a group, you know, over the last 5-7 years, you've really gotten engaged in what is needed today.
It's very agile.
It is, and obviously the trustees are very involved, and they take some of the responsibilities. They have action items on the plan. We make them work too.
She welcome.
Absolutely, yeah. They make my job easier. The Friends of the Library are involved in the plan as well. They do some of the things that are on the list. So we're very grateful to have all that help.
What's a library as commons?
Oh, that's, have you heard of the third place? It's not home, it's not work. It's that other place that you go where you feel comfortable and you're welcome and.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep.
Do you have another one, Liz?
Did I miss you?
Did you not?
No, I don't, I just
You
hold
just
it.
took both. I have to watch her.
Okay, so we, thank you for acknowledging that this is working, and we feel that it's working very well too. And if you can move to the next slide, Lester will talk about some of our key performance indicators.
So the success of our planning process shows in our performance indicators. Three key performance indicators are visits, reference questions, and program attendance. The 9% increase to 141,000 visits represents our highest annual visitor rate in the last 7 years. These are a result of engaging programs, diverse collection, exceptional customer service. People really compliment the library on their staff and people speak about the personal collection, connections they've formed with the staff. The 17% increase to over 8,000 reference questions is a 10-year high. It clearly underscores the value of our librarians. Our librarians help people with residents with research that goes deeper than search engines, giving vetted, fact-based answers to residents' questions. And as you can see, our most exciting recent success is 137% increase to over 15,000 people attending programs in a year. I mean, that's over 1,200 people a year. Yes.
Is this over the last year, including having a Sunday closure?
Sunday closed
We-
this Friday.
Yeah,
This will be for
technically,
25.
we've been closed for one Sunday,
Okay,
because we wouldn't normally have opened until this past Sunday.
okay, so you haven't really been able to measure what that impact on the set Sunday closing is yet.
There will be an impact.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
On the reference thing, if they, and we've asked everybody, this is, we're all, victims of what's going on and on the internet. AI is a lot of people, looking to reference, and it's like, how do I find this through AI, or is that something that
We're
hasn't
getting a
really
few-
infected
yeah.
you yet?
We're getting a few questions and we're planning some programs around it just to help people understand what it is, how to use it, why it scares so many people.
How to avoid misinformation and
But
disinformation.
That's the thing, I think we're just so surrounded by technology all the time, that having a conversation with a person and ask a librarian. They're gonna. Google will return thousands of responses, but a librarian will point you to a real one, a true one. And that just gets truer every year, that the technology just is taking over everything. People want to talk to a person.
Right, and the responses, I noticed in Google, the responses from AI are actually getting worse because.
Yeah.
If
It's
you,
a natural language, depository, right? It's just a huge database.
right,
So it needs some human intelligence in order to decipher.
Yeah.
And have you landed on the right spot, right?
I mean, anecdotally, last week I went in, I was going to read in my son's classroom, and I said, I Googled what second grade book should I read, and I was like, I don't know, and I went and I talked to Laura, the children's librarian, and in 30 seconds, she had 4 books, and I go to the school, the kids love it, like, and that's the.
And you were a hero.
Yeah, and I was here, the kids all loved it, and, but that, I can't do that with a computer, I can only do that with the children's librarian.
It's the value of the people.
It's like anything with technology, you still need the intelligence, right? There's uses for everything, but you still need people.
Yeah.
You still need people.
yeah, the programs really reflect both the strength of the offerings developed in response to community input. Rich rich experiences for all ages and interests. And also, the library has gotten better every year at providing programs that people are really interested in, both educational and cultural. And so that's really been working well for the library and the residents of the town. Next slide.
Okay, so speaking of the staff, if you've been on the board for a while, you'll possibly remember that we've made a lot of staffing changes over the last 7 years, and if you're new, we want to play this little video for you to show you how we've restructured the staff at the library.
One second, I just need to share that.
You should have opened up in a different tab.
It did, I just need to share it.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Well, this will be disappointing after you went to all the effort to give us a reel, if you will.
There it is. There it is.
Okay, there we go. There's supposed to be words.
No, there's sounds, but.
So kind of to do, although this is great, just for the two new members, there was a period of time that we were really being driven by state requirements
MAR.
and MAR and staffing and getting money from the state. We go and get money from the state if you grew your budget by so. Anyway, there was a lot of conversation and we challenged the trustees and Denise to make the department more efficient and to work with the town on, we just couldn't keep increasing the budget if we weren't working together. We were out of sync. I think that's a fair
That's a
statement.
good way to put it.
And Denise and the trustees they took the bull by the horns and they went through this and they redid the budget, they restructured. They looked at their staffing and where it was more effective. And I mean, talk about just, I'm sure it wasn't pleasant to be told that, you weren't gonna get as much money or it was, we needed them to change everything, but they did it. And as a result, it's just so much more in sync with what we can afford and also a much better product, I think, for the community. And, I can't say it enough. Every year you come in and you're just going on that path. It's great. And it's hard to change. It's hard. You've got 20 years of doing it a certain way and then all of a sudden everybody's like, yeah, that was great, but no. And we really worked hard and got it done. So,
Teamwork.
yeah, I mean, and that was great, but the little circles disappearing and going in and out, really conveying the pain that you all
Oh,
went
it
through.
was rough.
There should have been explosions. No, that was our first meeting. It was okay. We got through it. But yeah, it's really huge growth in your department. And it's appreciated every year.
Yeah.
That's why I said.
Denise, is that reorg when you lost your children's program director?
That was part of it,
Yeah.
yeah, that was one of the effects of going from 4 division heads down to 2.
Yeah.
It was all during that. So, obviously, and after Betsy's lovely words, we do remain committed to maintaining this thoughtful and responsive approach to staffing. We have developed some new roles and responsibilities, such as our focus on the outreach to the community. And more librarians are now involved in collection development, where it used to be one person. And I'll be talking about that more in a little bit. So we're very proactive in identifying staff efficiencies and creating opportunities for cost savings. We learned a lot in the years that we were having a lot of meetings with.
Got to know each other real well, and with the cross training and people understanding the fiefdoms, those walls came down and everybody really worked together. I mean, it was great.
Yeah, yep, just about everybody in the library is cross-trained, so if we need extra help in the children's department, like we do in the summers, we can, pull somebody off circulation because now they know how to work in the children's department. And, there's an ebb and flow to the work throughout the year. It's not just consistent. So the cross-training has been really beneficial. And we've also increased how we use our volunteers, and it's not just shelving books anymore. So we'll talk about that. Actually, if you want to go to the next slide, we can talk about that right now. So we do have a large volunteer force that we've grown over the last 5 years, basically, and we have talked about the monetary value of this in the past, and Joanne, during Joanne's presentation, you can see where volunteers really do help economically, but it's more than that, and having volunteers strengthens the community by creating social cohesion and providing opportunities for engagement, which are both shared values of the library and the community. Our volunteers, they do shelf books, pull holds, all those usual things you think of what a library volunteer would do. We also have volunteers delivering books to people who are homebound, either permanently or on a temporary basis. If somebody breaks their leg and they can't drive, but they, just finished their book, we'll send some new books over for them. And it's very helpful to have volunteers to keep our librarians in the building. We also put together a team last year. 3 people with very different life experiences came together to make Braille spine labels for our AV collection. And it was wonderful to watch. They've disbanded now because one of the members went off to college. But it was just a really nice experience for them, and we've made the library even more accessible and inclusive. And we like that about the library. So these relationships with our volunteers, they build inside and outside of the library, and they very often provide windows into the lives of others. So we can go to the next slide. So these are the highlights of our budget. Excuse me. You can see that our biggest decrease was in salaries. This is in large part due to some changes that we made in our tech services department, which is a department where the books have been ordered, they come in, they get all their labels and their stickers on them, and they get ready to go upstairs so that they can circulate out to the public. So we had, we knew that the librarian in that department was going to be retiring for the last year or two, so we've been sort of analyzing what she does and starting to divide up her responsibilities and assigning collection development to the other librarians so that they could buy books that, if they were interested in poetry, said, great, you can start to purchase all of the poetry books. So we do feel like, even Rose did a fantastic job with the collection. We've always had an amazing collection. But I think this just gives it another element. There's some passion in there now. It's good for the library. It's good for the people who come and browse the collection. We're also contracted with vendors who will send the books in already covered and with their labels on them. So that's a big staff time saver. And these vendors now offer like full carts of books, like curated lists for us. So it's a whole lot easier than just ordering one book at a time. So we've identified some workflow changes in that department. And we decided to capitalize on that. And when Rose retired, instead of backfilling a tech services librarian, we hired another community engagement librarian to help us with the programming that we identified during our strategic plan was something that we weren't quite meeting the needs of the community. Shortly after Rose retired, we had another resignation in that department, 19-hour person left. And because of all of these time-saving things that are available to us now, we decided to indefinitely freeze that position. So we cut a 19-hour position out of the library's budget. So the cost savings of Rose at the top of this pay scale, retiring, hiring in at step one, and then freezing an associate position, and we have some savings there. Obviously, the salary line will change because we don't have our contracts yet. Another place where we save some money is in the IT line. The IT department, the town's IT department has been great with coming over to help us fix our problems, so we're not having to hire out for maintenance. So we could take a couple $1,000s off of that, and they also give us more purchasing power, either by getting our stuff outright for us, or, you know, pointing us in the direction of a place where we can save some money. So we took about $8,000 out of the budget for that. We have the utilities increases that, you know, Mary requested we all do. And we did, after taking massive cuts to our materials lines last year, we did do a small 2% increase across the board there. It'll take us a year or two, I think, to figure out where those materials lines should really land.
Are you going more digital?
Digital really spiked up, you know, during COVID when people weren't leaving the house to come get library books. And then it kind of leveled off a little bit. It's a slow growth right now, but no, I don't,
People still want a book in their
people
hands.
still want books. Yeah,
Both,
absolutely.
both lines have
Yeah,
increased, both digital checkouts and physical
yeah.
checkouts.
I think the digital spike is, I think we're past that. I think now it's just a steady increase. And then you can see on our 5B budget, the only thing that we're asking for is to have our Sunday hours restored.
Denise, you did a lot of work with other town departments. You know, Council on Aging, your cooperation with Joe, the schools. You know, maybe talk a little bit about those initiatives. Because they're great, because that's the line item, right? You're helping them and all together could save a position or whatever if you're all working in cooperation.
Yeah, for sure. The library is, we're cradle to grave is what, you know, we always say. So we work with some of the preschools in town. They bring the kids over for little field trips, or the children's librarian will go to them to do little programs with the kids in the schools. We work very closely, obviously, with Alden and the high school and the middle school. Our children's and young adult librarians work with the teachers over there. We get the summer reading books so the kids can come get them. We have a huge summer reading program as well to keep their kids reading through school, and we collaborate on so many programs with the senior center here. And that's great because they've got their audience that's very active, and we pull in from all the age groups, not just the senior people. So one of our librarians comes over and does an intergenerational story time here. So, you know, bring your grandkids kind of thing, and it's just fun for everybody. We also work with the Bumpus Art Gallery is housed in the library, even though it's not library run. And they work with the Art Complex Museum. So we also have access to that group of people. They just started to do opening receptions again, which is bringing people into the library who might not be coming to the library for books, but now they're exposed through the art. And you know, we're gaining more patrons. The gallery gets more patrons from people being at the library.
And potential revenue. Cause you're selling the paintings.
For the gallery.
For the gallery.
Yeah, not for the
Not for the
library.
library, for the gallery.
But, you know, I never can remember, ink spot, ink, what,
Ink board.
ink board, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so ink spot, whatever. And, less toil inspired. But it also can be a reciprocal, you know, all of a sudden their eyes are open and there's some giving opportunities. Certainly Joanne has cornered that action, but you also have a friends group that is very generous.
They are very hardworking.
Getting back to the Sunday hours.
Yeah.
This 13,600, that is not a new hire, it's just reallocation of existing people, correct?
That's right. There, yeah.
And how many hours were Sunday hours?
We're open 5 hours for 22 Sundays. 2 staff members, the Sunday hours are part of their regular salary. So that's not included in the
So I'm wondering,
13,000.
you know, if that should not be in the 5B, but be in the 5A under the salaries, since one of the stipulations was about the 5B was not to do any extra hiring. And this is an extra hire,
No.
It's
No,
not extra
no,
hiring.
so.
No.
I think if you, my thought would be, you'd be better off getting it out of the 5B into the 5A. And you'd still be below budget, correct?
Well, we don't know because our salary line is,
They're in the middle of negotiations.
right, we don't have our collective
But nobody
bargaining.
else does either.
You know,
Right, yeah, no, I'm just saying, so we just don't, I mean, so
Yeah,
it's
I mean-
unclear to say, and 13,000 doesn't even seem like a lot. more.
tonight, you know, big service.
Do you mind if I jump in too when you have a second?
Gary's gonna get you, Chuck. Okay, go ahead, Mayor.
Thought you were on Mary.
Hi, guys. So Chuck, I just want to sort of address your point about 5A versus 5B with respect to the items that were reduced from last year's budget. The 5A budget and the restorations that have been included in the 5A follow along with the select board's priorities. And so the restoration of these Sunday hours was not included in the select board's priorities, and therefore they're not included in the 5A.
although as you point out, since our 5A budget represents a $6,000 decrease from the previous year, that's
Correct.
almost half of the Sunday hour request.
Sure. Yep. And I could appreciate that. And we thank you for the hard work on that. There are other departments where we also see the same types of things. So people for department budgets, they were not level funded. And so there's not that guarantee of that same level of funding. It's level of service with the select board's priorities, which is how the 5A has been put together.
Teddy wants to say something, Mary. Ted?
Sure.
No.
Sure.
I was gonna disguise my voice.
Ted, we know you anywhere.
Just, I'm trying to caution each group. And I think what you were saying, it sounds like a new body,
Yeah, right.
and anything that sounds like a new body is, I think, what we lost last year, why we lost. So it isn't a new body, so somehow to make sure that people understand that that is just returning what was, not something brand new.
I think that when you look at the A and B and the notes with it, that is pretty clear that if it's a riff that's being restored, it's categorized as such. If it's a new position, it's also categorized as such, so it would not be, unless somebody's totally not understanding.
But this is
what's
just a
going on.
reallocation of hours.
Yes, it's just a
Right, well, so-
reallocate.
If I may, sorry, and I don't mean to belabor it, but I just want to sort of draw proper comparisons. So with respect to last year's budget, there were reductions in force, but there are departments who suffered a reduction in force, and they do not have those resources available to assist in their offices, and it's causing very, very deep challenges across our organization. But the reduction in hours at the library is very similar to the reduction in hours at the transfer station as well. So, you know, when we talk about new body, a new position or new hire versus a reallocation of hours, we have to remember that the town had to make some choices to balance the budget last year. And those choices resulted in positions being reduced as well as hours being reduced in certain departments or areas of the organization.
We hear you.
Okay.
We hear you. It was just an observation.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. How'd the game go?
We won. Yay. Big day.
Playoffs. Oh, that's disappointing. Sure.
Yes.
That's undone. All right, so
We got a couple.
is there
more slides.
anything else that?
We got a
that-
couple
We
more
got a
slides.
couple more
Oh, more
slides.
slides.
We're not done.
Oh,
Just a couple more.
But mine's really familiar.
No, it doesn't seem as informative as other.
I could just read it.
Oh,
You
yeah,
guys
you
have
have
it,
them
I
on your,
think.
you have them in your, you have.
It's just the grants and stuff.
I think that you went to the, yeah, yeah.
The ink board, which you were asking about, and their endowment gift every year, which is consistent, and the Friends. And then we have some grants and what they were used for, including some inclusive access, which is, they're like mobile units, like hearing assisted devices that we just got like a few days ago, right?
Oh, great. I was gonna ask about that, yeah.
And then the Grafton Fund helped do an OB floor projector, which projects like games on the floor. And the Friends spruced up the children's room, the children's program room with some cabinets, shelves, and floors.
Great.
There you go.
There it
Well, I mean, I'm sure that there's a million grants that you try to go for. These are just the ones you're successful and, you know, people love to give money to Duxbury.
There's our Mar.
Yes,
I
we love
know.
to end with the Mar. Doesn't everybody want to end on
Hate the bar.
the Mar? So.
Was annoying.
I know Betsy touched on this, and I'm not sure everybody's super familiar with the MAR as a concept. So the library is bound by the state, required by the state to increase our budget, right, every year, to continue to increase, and it's 2.5% over the average of the previous 3 years. Generally speaking, that's about a 1.5% increase. But it does mean we always have to increase, like we're always on the up, which is not our reality, right? So, the last couple of years in 21, 22, and 23, we did not meet the MAR requirement of the state. And we received waivers. We weren't alone in that. Obviously, that was a very difficult time. So it wasn't, we weren't in any danger of losing our certification, really. The next 2 years, primarily due to Article 4 in that job classification study, we did meet the MAR. We had a couple of big jumps in our salary line. And so we did meet the MAR those years. This year, obviously, we had cuts to our budget, and we most likely will not meet the MAR. Currently, we don't meet the MAR. We know that our collective bargaining agreement will amend the FY 26 budget, even though, won't do it until town meeting. But we don't know for sure at this point. So I expect there'll be a later conversation when you talk about Article 4 and Article 8. And we'll get a better sense of what the impact will be on our salary line for 26. Then we'll know whether we're gonna meet the MAR. And then, of course, that number will be the number that's used to determine the MAR for FY 27. So we really don't know, right, where we stand in meeting the MAR for 27. It doesn't look likely. The gap is pretty wide for both of those. And so that's, we talk about it every time, right? And it's at various times it can be restricting for us, right? And we were pretty deep in the hole at one point, and we have recovered. But as you can see, we're really just sort of hovering right now. And it's not a great place to be. Recognizing that if we consistently don't meet the MAR, we could put ourselves in danger of losing certification, losing that state aid, that $40,000, and losing the right to borrow from other libraries. Which obviously are not, that's not sustainable, it's not acceptable.
I wonder if it's gonna be impacted. I mean, I was reading, like, is it Mary, 120 city override petitions that are in
So
process?
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but you're absolutely right. I suspect that what we're going to start to see is yet another wave of waivers being requested over the next couple of years, just given the fiscal constraints across so many communities right here in our backyard, ourselves included, as well as others across the Commonwealth.
There's always something, but that
Right.
Yeah,
struck me as being, that's a huge number.
right.
30 towns are doing this, it's crazy.
Are all the libraries that you associate with, are they all in the same situation?
Sure, I think I don't know if we've looked at the old, like the network itself to see, but like you said, every.
I know the towns are, I
Right,
didn't know if
yeah.
they were.
And we've had a pretty, I know Ted might feel differently about this, but we've, like, our library, changed our policy to not necessarily strip the ability to borrow books from a library just because they lose certification. And we would be pressuring other libraries to do the same, more open. I understand why they do that, right? We want every librarian in the network to continue to fund, or every town to continue to fund its library, but recognizing right now that every town is under this kind of pressure, right? We would be pushing hard to not lose that, but losing the state money is also significant, right? And if we are hovering near that MAR, we would hope to figure out a way to get there, because it returns more money, right? It turns.
A better term for it might be circling the drain.
There. Let's hope not, but yes,
Restoring Sunday hours make it more likely that we could.
it definitely makes it more likely, yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
definitely.
feel like that's a compelling thing to include too.
Yeah.
that,
That was always a hot button, the Sunday hours, but as you say, it's not as impactful now because it was cut down to 22. When did we did, I don't remember when that happened, instead of being open every Sunday, it got cut down to just,
They're never open every Sunday.
it was never every Sunday.
No,
We don't know the
we
impact yet.
increased from 18 to 22
Okay,
in the last 20 years.
I'd love to see Sundays through the school year, right?
Yeah.
From the beginning of school to the end of school. Right now, we do Sundays, October to, Halloween to Patriots Day. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, so that, certainly in the spring, I would love to see those Sundays.
Right.
Open, right? But that's not, a conversation for another
As
day.
part of the reorg, I think they did a great job, because it was always a problem with the benefits for part-time people.
Yeah.
And that was a constant,
I didn't bring it
More
up
than
this
the
time,
town
that was actually perfectly.
and so I think you did a great job getting that number of non-benefited associates down into
Yeah.
19 hours.
Yeah.
Which was no easy.
Yeah. No, for sure. The staffing change has been amazing. Yeah, that's.
And
Right
really
side.
wonderful staff as well, so.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, do you have any questions? You're unusually quiet for this evening.
I really don't. We had a great presentation yesterday from the folks in livable Duxbury, so I heard a lot about that, and I'm impressed by the library budget as well. I'd like to see those Sunday hours come back personally, so I hope we can get that passed. It's as a working parent, we're not available during the weekdays very often to be in that library, so if we can get that Sunday back, it would be great.
Respite on a Sunday
And
afternoon.
like Halloween's over.
How bad do I look, Ted? I don't know if you saw last night's meeting, but I'm still pulling my hair out. So I'm trying.
Now, Mike, and again, I do have to compliment you. You have been at every one of our meetings trying to learn about the budget and hearing these presentations, and I so appreciate that. And hopefully when you're discussing it at the select board meeting, you can share some of your observations from here so that people stay current.
Yeah,
Thank you.
trying. Yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Betsy, do you mind if I just add one more thing?
no, you cannot, no. Go ahead.
I just wanted to sort of bring to the finance committee's attention. I know early on when we started our process of the initial meetings, I had mentioned to you guys that we were putting together what is called a digital budget book in ClearGov. And I gave you a little demo. I know we've talked about a lot of things, so you may not remember it, but I just want to let you guys know that the departments have been very hard at work putting together a lot of information in the digital budget book, and the library has done yeoman's work. Some of the information that you saw in their slide deck is included in that digital budget book. That budget book has not yet been rolled out to the community, and the expectation or the anticipation is that that's going to be made visible and public to the community in mid-December around the time when the town manager releases the final balanced budget. So just want to remind you that that's a coming attraction, if you will. And the idea behind it is that it would be a single repository for members of the community to be able to see the budget, answer questions, and see some data visualizations and key performance indicators behind each department. So some of the great work that you saw tonight from the library and from the COA is being built into the digital budget book.
Beautiful, thank you.
Sure.
All right, okay, kids. You've been great, go home. Thank you, it's always nice to see you. All right, Mary, do you have anything else you need us to do?
Not this evening. I know we were planning on having a conversation about sort of general revenues and expenditures. I'm sorry I'm not there this evening. I will definitely be at the next meeting. If you'd like to schedule that conversation for a future meeting, then I'm happy to do that. And a little of an expansion upon the slide deck that we presented to the select board.
Are we gonna be able to catch up on the stuff that the stuff from last Thursday that you were, it shouldn't take that long to go through it.
No, those were smaller, and I think they primarily were they me and I think they were me and Jeannie.
Yeah.
So Linda just rescheduled us for another date that we had already had a previously scheduled meeting. So nope, it's already on the books, and we'll do it at a future meeting.
Okay, because we've got the 2 DPW, and that's such an expensive budget, we really need to give them undivided attention.
So
They definitely,
Huh?
we're gonna do revenues again on Thursday night?
Yeah. I mean, just an update, right, Mary? It shouldn't take that long for the revenue. Do we have any, pots of gold, or it's fairly straightforward?
yeah, sure. I think I
Yeah, at the rainbow. All right, yes.
There's no extra pots of gold. No, the idea was that we had talked at a high level about where we stand in the budget process and the revisions to the revenue forecast, as well as where we stood with departmental budgets. We presented that to the select board last week, and if we wanted to discuss it any further, if people from the finance committee had any specific questions, I'd be happy to answer and address them.
Did you want to wait until after the fee hearings were concluded, and so that you have that data for the revenue update, or no?
Well, so the fee hearings are not going to happen. I think they're scheduled for December 5th. And so, that then if we're waiting until that point, which is fine, then we might as well just wait for the town manager's budget to be released, which is going to come out the following week. Okay. So maybe Betsy, why don't you and I talk about scheduling tomorrow, and then we can bring some ideas back to the committee, if that's okay with you.
Yep, that'd be fine. Do you all want to get some revenue updates, or would you rather wait till we have the fee?
Florida.
Huh?
We'll find out about Florida residents.
Florida residents, yeah, we have to find out about Florida. Chuck has a good idea, so we'll talk about that too. But yeah.
Are we going to tax Florida residents too? I'd love to send some tax bills there.
He had brought up the point that as far as revenue sources, that some towns have a different structure for second homes than primary.
Like
And-
Chatham.
And we don't have that. So,
Well, so yes, we do. In
well,
the
we
sense,
have the rentals as opposed to people that just have second homes, right?
no, so just so if I can address that real quick. So what happens with homes in the town of Duxbury that are classified as second homes? People receive a real estate bill, so they'll get their primary real estate bill just as you do as homeowners. And in addition to that, they will get a personal property bill for the contents of their home because it is a second home. So they do get an additional tax from the town of Duxbury for a second home.
And is that everyone that is, considers Florida their primary residence?
That considers Florida as their primary. Well,
6 months, 1 day,
I'm sorry.
6 months, 1 day crowd.
The question is how do you determine if someone has a second home in Duxbury?
Okay, so why don't we go through that when I'm there and we have a meeting on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Why don't we go through that? It'd be easier to sit down and chat about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
great,
Great.
Perfect.
super. All right, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Mayor. Congratulations on it.
Thank you, appreciate it. Have a great night, everybody.